The cells in your body have a voltage on it. It's electrical charge like a car battery. When it gets low, you get sick.
Mark, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm looking forward to discussing PEMF therapy with you today. I'm sure a lot of them have heard of PEMF. Maybe they even have a device, but let's assume that a large portion also will be like the people on the streets and have never heard of it. So what is PEMF?
Okay, so it's called pulse electromagnetic fields. It sounds real fancy. It's actually the Earth's heartbeat. You're surrounded in it right now. But to simplify it, you got to go to a higher level for a minute and just talk about energy exchange. So nothing in the world happens without energy exchange. You don't drive your car, you don't chew food, you don't breathe oxygen, you don't fall down, you don't bang your head, right? Everything is an energy exchange. So you can transfer energy to your body with PEMF, magnetic fields, electrical current, like a TENS unit that people are familiar with, light, sound, or vibration, chanting, humming, all of those, infrared light. So those are the 5 main ways to transfer energy to the body. PEMF, it chose that mode intentionally because it's the most simple and convenient to use. And you don't have any wires. It's not, you can put it in your pocket. People don't even see it if you don't want to. You can wear a lanyard around your neck. It's super simple to go use. So that's what it is. It's an energy transfer to the body. There's 100 million different theories and rat holes and things you can go down. But the 2 things that we do know, the industry knows, is that the cells in your body have a voltage on it, right, at the membrane. It's electrical charge like a car battery. When it gets low, you get sick. This recharges your cells' batteries. That's been proven over and over. And then ATP, which is the main chemical that your cells use for food, adenosine triphosphate, it increases that up to 500%. So that your cells have more food. So it does those 2 things: recharge cells' batteries, gives your body more fuel for your cells so your body can do what it does best, which is heal itself. That's it at the highest level, is energy exchange. PEMF is just one method of doing that.
If you had the instrumentation, would you be able to measure the change in the membrane voltage if you could?
There's all kinds of, and I'm not an expert in that field. It's not easy. You're not going to just go put a wand up to you and measure it, but there are tests that they've done, as I said, and they're quite complex and complicated, expensive, those type of things. I don't want to get dark and go down all the rabbit holes that you can, but for example, mitochondria, this actually happened. I'm sitting there talking to a vendor at a conference and talking about mitochondria tests, how we can measure the energy level at mitochondria before and after. I'm like getting super excited until I heard the price of it, blah, blah. But yeah, so there's all kinds of things you can go measure. Honestly, the best things to measure today that are affordable for everybody is sleep is going to be number 1 with your wearable, right? Or just, am I going to bed? Am I sleeping more without a wearable? But things like, Fitbits or Oura rings, we have our new Cardio watch coming out, things that you can measure with sleep. Heart rate variability is going to be probably one of the top things to measure. If that increases, that's indicating the entire system's better. Your whole body, the whole spacecraft is running better. Your fight or flight is in balance, those type of things. And blood sugar and blood. So a lot of other things you can measure, but those are some of the simplest ones, is heart rate variability and sleep. One of the best litmus tests, Nick, in the world for these technology device is not technical at all. It's a litmus test of your friends and family. Does your wife want to hang out with you now? Do your kids want to hang out with you? Do your neighbors invite you over where they didn't used to anymore because you're kind of a jerk, right? You change your attitude. All of that is one of the top litmus tests of, hey, you're behaving different, better, and people notice it. It happens a lot with ADHD, and teachers will call the parents and go, hey, you changed Johnny's drug. What was it? We didn't change his drug. We started using this PEMF device. Why? So there's a lot of indicators like that where people around you see the difference. But some of the simplest things is all these watches and things are affordable now. Instead of just doing subjective tests, you can measure with bioharmonize. But then the bottom line is the subjective test is still super valuable. Do I feel better or not? I want to get up and go to work, right? Am I in a better mood all this time?
Mm-hmm. You mentioned like 2 of the big things that PEMF influences, being the voltage of the membrane, the cell membrane, and then also the amount of cellular energy or ATP. How would that translate into so many different effects and benefits, such as even something like sleep? You might think that sleep would be impaired by having more ATP available.
It could, right? It actually could if you're running that. The protocols are going to drive ATP to highest right at bedtime. Don't run the sleep protocols. And you asked me earlier about how is it compared to other devices. One of the main differences is they're not frequencies. They're not like a beamer map that's doing a sweep, right? It's their frequency pairs that are, and the protocols are very complex. So if you picture the frequency pair as a chord on a guitar, the protocols are songs, and all the songs are different. So like PTSD is 76 different frequency pairs. It's very, very complex. But at the biological level is, if the voltage is low on the cell, good nutrients can't get in the cell efficiently and waste can't get out. So that's the biggest factor with voltage. When it's at the proper voltage, stuff flows. It flows into the cell, good stuff and bad stuff out. To your point, nobody's ever asked me that before, but yes, ATP, if you just ran gamma or something to jack up your ATP, brainwave gamma, right before bedtime, that's not a good call, because it's going to amp you up and you're not going to sleep as well. Because our sleep protocol will take you from an assumed beta gamma range, right? And it's going to step you down, go through various parts of the brain. And PTSD is the most complex because it's not in your brain alone. It's in every organ, every part of your body. You can actually see it in measurement at the cellular level with the right technology. I don't have that.
Yeah. So your device is small. For people who are listening and not watching, it's about the size of the palm of my hand. I have a big palm. And I usually wear it on the lanyard around my neck. Is it possible that a device this size can really impact my body systemically?
It does. And there's three theories of how do you get, the question is, how do you get full body coverage with a tiny little device, right? One is it's resonating with the water in your body. So just like throwing a pebble in a pond, the energy is focused where the device is at, but it's still traveling with water. The reason we believe that anecdotally or by correlation is if you're not hydrated, it doesn't work as well. So that's a clue that water is doing that. Now, you remember from science class or whatever, is alternating magnetic current is going to make an alternating electrical current and vice versa. Okay. Faraday's law, I think is what it's called. So your body, it's good. Most people are not going to feel it, but there's a very, very small electrical current that has to be there because of the physics, and your body is conductive. So granted, your skin's about 200,000 ohms resistance. It's pretty resistant, but it still carries current. That's why you have electricity, you die or can't, right? Your body's taking electricity and transferring it to all the organs. So that's the second way it actually transfers, we believe. And the reason we bring the water one too is like you can put it in your top pocket and it makes the swelling go down in your foot if you have a broken foot or a strained foot. The magnetic field by itself, from a physics point of view, can't go that far. It just drops off too fast. So the energy has to get there some other way. So again, I believe it's because of water resonate with the water, electrical conductivity of your skin, and magnetite. So magnetite is in the cells of birds and turtles and stuff. And we believe, we humans, that's how they use for navigation. And it's been recently discovered in the last 20, 25 years or so, I think, that magnetite is in human cells, just not at high a concentration. So if there is magnetite, and there is, in your cells, it's almost like a chain of magnets, right? Actually, I got some for you. Chain of magnets, right? A magnet to magnet to magnet and energy. So your cells are probably handing energy to each other because of that. So you won't hear anyone else say magnetite that I know of because I made that up. Just looked doing research and I said, I think that's real as a possible way that it could be transferred. But yeah, it's kind of like the whole thing is, how does electricity flow through a wire? Everything we ever thought is wrong, right? You're looking for potassium, the guy, but watch how he proved that it doesn't flow like anyone thinks it does. So like anything in the world, there's tons and tons and tons of stuff we do not understand. Um, and a lot of times people will go, so this is all voodoo. Well, they haven't done any research on it because I'm trying to teach you about business and creativity, right? But you have to like tenderize their brain and slap them to get them to actually listen to something new like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of times we'll figure out the mechanisms of how things work given enough time, but just wait. And a lot of people don't want to actually wait a decade, multiple decades to understand something before they use it. If they see that it's safe and it gets people results, that's ultimately like the two factors that matter.
But so I always say to that point, as far as to say, relief before reason. Yeah, I get in arguments with every single doctor, every MD ever, and I'm right. They're wrong. Okay. I had a question in college. Benzene rings is an alternating double bond. How do you know that? Well, because the energy says that's what it has to be. Well, yeah, but has anyone ever taken a picture or seen that? No, never. It's more of a fuzzy cloud thing, isn't it? Anyway, so that's, I get back to relief before reason. If it's safe, helping you, quit trying to figure it out because you're going to be wrong if you think you do anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then if you think you have the exact mechanism, you'll be more blind to new theories and ideas that suggested something totally different.
Exactly. I mean, that's like, of course, you're not close to old enough to know, but a guy named Rich Hall, he's a comedian in the 70s, right? He had a thing called sniglets. They're words that aren't in the dictionary, but they should be. And one of them was bozo. It's a combination of bozo and ozone. It's an invisible gas that surrounds people that doesn't let any new ideas get in, right? So I'm always like, drop the bozo. You don't know it. And the reason this technology works is most people, almost all of our customers, they are long-term, chronic in physical or mental pain, and nothing else has worked for them. The side effects on the drugs suck, the others, or they don't work at all, or other therapies. So that's why they come to this technology, or they pique enough interest when they see a Facebook ad as, yeah, I've had back pain for 25 years. Nothing has ever worked. I have one guy, I won't mention his name, but he's a billionaire in Dallas. He's gone to 250 doctors for his wife who has brain damage, and they don't know what it is. This is the only thing that's ever helped her. How is it helping her? Don't know. Right? So we have theories about it, but it's like, and if this doesn't raise the hair on your arms, you're not human, because this is my favorite example. We have hundreds of examples we want to go through, but a 17-year-old girl said, Mark, I'll never have a date in my entire life because I have Tourette's. All the boys hate me at school. I'm a monster. I get bullied all the time. I ran the brain balancing protocol on the device and my Tourette's disappeared. And I have a date Saturday night. Then 2 years later, she married the guy. Now, I never told her to go run brain balancing. She didn't ask. She just did it. And that's what it did for her. In that case, I've had half a dozen people in the last 2 months tell me with the vagus nerves protocol on either the Vibe or the Vega Vibe that their AFib went from like 98% down to 3. I'm like, how are you even measuring that? They go, the Apple Watch. So I didn't know the Apple Watch had AFib on it, but it does. So we're getting ready to run a clinical trial with a cardiologist in New Zealand, who's a big customer of ours, to see, got to get the data as best you can. Obviously, I can't have data. I'm not investors. I can't go run tons and tons of clinical trials. I can do PTSD. We have the largest PTSD study for PEMF in the world. That I have. Blood sugar we've done. Sleep. If you could ever get a doctor to finish, I have 3 different doctors doing sleep studies that never finish it or ever give you the tape. We'll go there. It's hard to get doctors to finish stuff. So we know it works for PTSD and trauma. And that was one of the first ones I jumped on because I saw what it could do. And to your point earlier was to get the treatment, you had to go find an expensive mat somewhere. Or at the time when I started looking 7 years ago, none of that stuff existed. There's only a few machines around the country and you had to go drive a couple of states. So that wasn't accessible to people to get the therapy.
Yeah. So if I wanted to try this at home and say I have a continuous glucose monitor, could I like have that a certain meal and then repeat it again with the blood sugar mode on, or perhaps after the blood sugar mode to see if I notice any difference? I don't know the magnitude of effect that I could expect to see.
So I'm going to make a couple points there. One's going to be very controversial, but biggest way I'm getting new wholesalers these days, doctors, is this scenario. The patient walks into the doctor's office and the doctor goes, "Oh my God, your A1C is 5.6. It's never been below 8. You finally started doing what I told you to do. You started dieting or exercise or something." They go, "Nah, I started using this." And the doctor snatches out of the hand. They call me and go, "What the hell is this?" And literally, Nick, we had like 3 or 4 new wholesalers, or we get a new wholesaler like every 3 or 4 months. I probably get 3 to 4 a day now. And it's that scenario of a patient going to the doctor going, "Hey," or they call me up, right? This has been going on for a few years. "Hey, how is this possible? My blood sugar went from 200 to 110 in 25 minutes. It doesn't do it for everybody. It's not 100%. Nothing in the world is, right? But yeah. Continuous glucose monitors, and the SUVs are going to show up in the door, and it's going to be the Libre guys burning my house down. But there's a study already been done. Everyone else can go look at it. A continuous glucose monitor with Bluetooth increases your blood sugar. We don't recommend doing it. Recommend you prick your finger, or that's why I invented this watch that can measure blood sugar without pricking your finger. Now it's doing it through algorithms and all that stuff that's, not 100% accurate, but it's a very good before and after ratio to go look at. So yeah, there's all kinds of weird things like that. That's like, yeah, glucose monitors, the Bluetooth is not. And you know what? Nobody references that study. Everyone else can go Google it. I did. He's like, "Dad, that's bad. You don't." Say, okay, prick your finger, use some of these devices like these new ones. And again, it's also back to a lot of times people go like, "I don't even measure mine really much, but I know it's working because I feel better." Then they go measure it to prove it to themselves. And is this, placebo effect in my own brain?
Is there a risk of going hypoglycemic or having like too large of effect on blood sugar, or really through any of the protocols by using it, say, multiple times?
The correct answer has to be, of course, there's a possibility of that. So watch what's going on. If something's weird's happening, stop using it, right? Is the side effects, it's a small percentage of people, but here's what usually happens. They go, "So making me tired, is that normal? How many times a day you use it?" And the answer is usually like 15. It's like, okay, so cut back. "Yeah, but I got 28 things broken on me." I'm like, okay, well, which one's bothering you the most? And go concentrate on that and just kind of work your way into it, right? So yes, people could trim their hair with lawnmowers too. It's not recommended, but it's like, I can't stop that. All those things like that. To answer your question, bottom one is anything's possible. If something's weird, stop. Go ask your doctor, contact us. If it's our device, you talk to them, maybe we can help you. The number one reaction besides "I'm tired" is if it makes you sick. And I gotta be super careful saying this. I'm not a doctor, I'm a rocket scientist, all that. Don't diagnose, treat, cure anything. So I feel really bad about even mentioning this to customers, but we know this is true. If it makes you feel sick, it probably means you have an infection. So the inflammation, normally 40 hertz protocol's in there, it's going to reduce inflammation. The theory is the inflammation's holding that bad stuff inside at a local point, and then it gets into the rest of your body and makes you kind of feel sick. So you can't really suggest to people, but we do. Go get a blood test. Go ask your doctor. Go see if you have an impacted tooth or an infected toe. That might be what it is, and you just don't know it. Okay? The other side effect is if you're in severe pain, long term, it can make you drunk or stuck. So and that has been measured, Nick, is your body goes, "You party." That pain isn't there, and the endorphins 10x. And I have a young woman here that backpedaled in my chair over here and sat down. She goes, "I'm seeing double vision." So first time you use it, if you're in severe pain, especially, don't be driving a car or operate catapults or machine guns, whatever, right? Is go make sure it doesn't have that effect on you. But that's rare. It's very rare. But those are really only side effects. But again, anything to answer your question, that was a long answer, is yeah, anything could be possible. So use common sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If someone's generally healthy, are there particular settings or modes that you recommend? Like I know there's I don't know if I should even say the names of the programs that would get you in trouble or not, but there's certain ones to help with the aging process, and there's certain ones to help with brain related things. And there's the inflammation program that you mentioned. What are like the recommendations you have for someone who doesn't have any like, acute issues that they're aware of at least?
Yeah, I'd answer this way, I guess. The most common, most used protocol and device is general inflammation. And the reason is 80% of all ailments are something to do with inflammation. Ironically, of course, just because this video game of the universe is hilarious. This had 47 on it when we started. The only one that had a bug in it, the only one, was general inflammation. It was like, oh my God. It wasn't mono, one that nobody ever uses, right? It's the most used one. So I was like, trying to find that bug was impossible. We finally just had to kill it and rewrite it. So general inflammation is going to be number one. Vagus nerve is the superhighway magical thing that fixes a lot of stuff if that's imbalanced. And it's what athletes are going to look for is vagus nerve with their heart rate variability. Am I overdoing it? Is it time to start working out more? Is it time to rest? But if you just had to, of all the biomarkers and things you can go look at, honestly, number one is sleep. Just what? Are you getting enough sleep? Is it eating enough REM, blah, blah, blah. Then heart rate variability is what I would measure, but I would use general inflammation. I wouldn't have recommended this 2 years ago for vagus nerve, but we're learning that much more about it, how it's doing. For people that aren't familiar with it, it comes in your brain down both sides of your neck. It goes to your heart and all your organs. And it's the superhighway communication between your brain and your organs. And it talks both ways. So it is the fight or flight system police, right? To make sure you don't have your lowering the gas and your foot on the brake at the same time, that you're in balance. And yeah, we ran a clinical trial on that. We had heart rate variability go up 43% on average in 1 hour. So we don't even have the data yet, 1 hour session. We're working on the data still as what does that mean? Use that 4 times a week for 30 days. We don't even have that data yet. So that's really exciting. Me personally, I'm an old dude, as you can tell, 64. If my heart rate variability was above 40, it means that I'm in pretty good shape. Mine's 23, 24. Mine is now 105. I'm trying to test myself long term. What does that do to me?
The sleep one, I've noticed that when I run it, first of all, I don't know how you recommend using it. The way I've been doing it is I've been running it and having it under my pillow. I don't know if don't do that. Okay, well, I've been doing that. And one thing I noticed is that it made my dreams a lot more vivid and lucid.
And then that's a common comment, but what I'd recommend, it's going to be a weird answer, is because people roll over, they hit it, they throw it across the room, and you don't have carpeting, it hits the floor, it can break, right? So I recommend, because the sleep protocol is 46 minutes, run in an hour before bed, hour and a half before bed, then run brainwave delta, because the sleep protocol is banging your way down to that anyway. But try not to take it to bed. Now, the other reason, you can imagine how many people yell at me, I don't want this big bright light thing to come on when I touch the button. Well, and you're in the dark and you click, it's bright enough that you see it during the day. So don't do it when you're trying to sleep. Just try it before you sleep.
Makes sense. And so if I wear it around my neck, the magnetic field is strong enough in some capacity, whether it's working like on my blood or the magnetite thing you said it was, that like it's actually going to influence my brain and put it into either delta for sleep or say alpha or theta for meditation or gamma for like productivity and connecting the dots.
It's interesting. I won't call them competitors because everyone in this industry, in the PEMF world, by the way, in my opinion, they're all super good people, rising tide, this all shit. Everyone's great except one person. I won't say who she is because she's awful, but everyone else is great, right? And so the vagus nerve is, and I'm referencing some other studies that we've shared back and forth with some of our competitors, but the reason I created the pendant, so my point was going to be that everyone initially going to think, hey, it's a head issue, I got to wear in my head. People don't want to wear it in their head. One product, literally, It's been around forever. Uses wet sponges. It's like the Green Mile, like I'm going to the electric chair. People do not like that. You don't need to put it on your head to get full body coverage for the reasons we already talked about. Interestingly, some of these head devices, and these are some of the good guys I'm talking about, is their customers don't wear it on their head. They put it on their leg or they put it on their shoulder. So now the manufacturer has changed how to use it on purpose. Okay. Now, because the reason I created the pendant was it's just a piece of jewelry, and because it clusters around your heart, I can get to the vagus. Now, old school thinking. So here's old school vagus nerve thinking. You got to cut into the person's brain and put it inside their brain. And you cut inside when you put it in the spine. Okay. Then the old school thinking is because the vagus nerve is closest to the neck skin, that I got to put it on my neck or by my earlobe. I got to pull my earlobe and do. You don't, because the heart is a little bit deeper, but the magnetic field travels enough to get to it. That's our theory, and that's what the data is showing. It's working. So that's how you kind of get full body coverage of things that we already talked about, and it doesn't need to be on your brain. PTSD is the best example. As I said earlier, it's been proven it's not just in your brain, it's in your blood, your organ, your liver. So where would you put it for PTSD? It wasn't just in your pocket. And so you put it in your back pocket, wear it with the lanyard. I gave up 2 years ago telling women not to put it in their bra anymore because they're going to do it anyway. So women just stick it in their bra because it's more convenient. And so it's like, okay, warning to all female listeners. I don't know what you guys do in the bathroom, but be careful because we have so many of these dropped in the toilet. It's in our FAQs. What happens when I drop in the toilet? You hit it with a blow dryer immediately. Rice won't do anything to it. Rice is not going to help. And it's not waterproof because it has vent holes in it, because it does put out relatively decent amount of energy, 9 Gauss, and it's going to get a little bit warm. So get some ventilation. Don't put it in your pants if you have super, super thick pants and you're exercising at the same time. It's going to get too warm.
Okay. And I know that there'll be some questions about like, how does PEMF compare to just EMF and like the non-native EMF specifically that people are concerned about when it comes to like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and cell data and stuff like that?
Everyone will ask me, we get this question many times a day. Does it put out EMF? And I can't answer yes or no, because the answer is yes. Of course it does. It's PEMF. It's electromagnetic field. That's all EMF means. It doesn't mean good or bad. Now, everyone's connotation is EMF is horrible. Okay. So is light. So the analogy that I use for people is everyone's gone to the dentist, put a lead apron on you, and they shoot you an x-ray. That's 10 to the 12th to 13th zeros. Okay. That's how big that frequency is. And the energy, I use this analogy as a surfer. The energy is how big is the wave and how often does it come? So if I'm sitting out to wait for a wave and they're 1 foot waves that come every 15 minutes set, not that much energy. If they're 100 foot waves, they come 100 million billion times a second. That's a lot of energy. So the reason you're wearing a lead apron is because it's 10 to the 12 pounds. Okay. Your cell phone is going to be a million. Wi-Fi is 2.4 gigahertz. So that's millions. These devices, all the PEMF devices, usually in the range of 1 to 1,000 hertz, which might sound like a lot. But if you plotted that scale of an x-ray at the dentist, these are zero. They're actually zero, because on an exponential scale, 1 to 1,000 is the same as zero when it comes to 13 zeros, right? So it's been proven that that adds energy to the body. That's helpful for the reasons that we said. And magnetic therapy has been around since Hippocrates. He wrote in 3500 BC, right? So those are static magnets that were lodestones, which we believe are magnetized because of rocks on the ground that get hit by lightning. Okay. So it was discovered that PEMF, a pulse electromagnetic field, is just more therapeutic. And that was around Tesla's time that it started to get research. There's a lot of traction, and everyone probably knows this, or maybe not. Carnegie and Rockefeller ruined it for everybody. Okay. So Rockefeller owned all the oil in the world, all oil in the country, Standard Oil. He figured out he can make drugs out of oil, and they owned the medical landscape. They owned all the funding for universities and Carnegie. And they basically said, hey, if you're doing anything but surgery or drugs, we're going to pull your funding and your license. So in the United States, all that research got dropped and we're way behind the rest of the world because of it. It's getting spun back up again in the last 30, 40 years. But that was the big hiccup, was Rockefeller.
Yeah. That's a good synopsis of like why it's different. And yes, it is still an EMF. It's a magnetic field, and it's not necessarily the same in terms of power as it isn't the same power as other devices that people are more concerned about, even if they're still non-ionizing.
Technology that I use. So 2 things. The lower end of it, you're engulfed in it right now. It's the Earth's heartbeat at 7.83 hertz, the Schumann frequency. That's about a half a Gauss, 0.4 to 0.5. This device, the Vibe, is 9 Gauss maximum. An MRI is 50,000 Gauss. Now, we do 1 million MRIs a year in this country. How many deaths do you think there have been from an MRI? 1. Okay. And it came from a tank flying across the room, hitting a lady in the head because it wasn't tied down. Yeah. So I'll just stop there because we're going to get the pacemakers, and can you use it? The official answer is no. Do you have a pacemaker, insulin pump, or electronics in you? No. Don't use it unless you're under doctor supervision. But this is a fact. Nobody had a pacemaker to get an MRI for that reason. They were scared to death of what 50,000 Gauss is going to do. Then doctors figured out, hey, you're going to die if we don't look inside you and see what's wrong. So you want to take a chance. And to my knowledge, no one with a pacemaker has ever died with an MRI. It's only that one lady. Now, having said that, the official answer from Mark and everyone in the PEMF world is, if you have a pacemaker, don't use it. And if you're pregnant, don't use it, because the first deformed baby that comes out, it's going to get blamed on this. So got to err on the side of safety when it comes to that.
You mentioned the Schumann resonance a minute ago, and I think that's 7.83 hertz, give or take. You have a mode on the Vibe that is, I guess you have multiple modes that are, what do you call them? Harmonics of the Schumann resonance. What is the benefit of replaying that frequency set?
Good question. So there's 3 waves of 7.83 hertz, 14.1 and 20.3. I may have screwed up the other 2, but I know it's 7.83 for sure. But those other 3, you can look on the device, I put them on. The reason I did that was just a hypothesis, Nick, is my feet are on a grounding mat right now. So I'm like, can I do grounding with shoes on? That's the reason I put them in there. Can I get the grounding effect by just having the energy there? Now, I've known for a long time what 40 hertz can do with Alzheimer's and plaque and everything. MIT discovered it by accident 10 years ago. I've talked to them multiple times. The new device that we have, I need to go prove it works. But that's what I'm really excited about, is the old people like me and the amount of Alzheimer's and, MCI, cognitive impairment, moderate. I've been schooled, Nick, by the doctor that's going to help me, who wants to run the study. He's one of the top guys in the world on the subject. Don't say Alzheimer's, say MCI. I go, I know what MCI is. He goes, moderate cognitive impairment. You can say that and not get shot by the SUVs front door. My God. So we're MCIing people, right? With this new device that is coming in 2 weeks. It's going to put out 40 hertz light and 40 hertz PEMF same time. And you're going to wear it on the inside of your wrist where there's a meridian right here. And then on the back, where there's another meridian. There's a cool thing in research that says R&D stands for research and development. It also means rob and duplicate, which is what every inventor since the beginning of time has ever done. So this device will hold that, and you just put it like this on the back of your neck. Whereas R&D this from, me and my designer, was somebody invented a device that if you're sitting in your computer and you slouch, it goes, and it yells at you. Right? But it has a little electronic thing that sees you leaning, has a little magnetometer there to yell. So we just took that basic concept of design and changed the holder. So this is what we're going to have. So yeah, I robbed and duplicated that from somebody that has nothing to do with my industry, right?
Interesting.
What most inventors do.
So could you take the Vibe and then just run 40 hertz? And of course, it's not going to be as effective as if you have the light in tandem with it, but can you do that to help with the similar goal?
Yeah, the general information is going to be, well, it's almost all 40 hertz. It's should say that it's 40 and 116 mixed, and there's lots of research that show that was it. But in general, the magic frequency in PMF is 40 hertz. So it's not a surprise that that's what MIT discovered. And I got to school an MIT professor, doctor, and made me feel really good. I'm like, he goes, well, what's your frequencies? I go, 1 to 1,000 hertz. He goes, well, it can't work because nobody can see over 60 hertz. I'm like, right. You didn't take the rat's eyes open, so how did the energy get into this rat? And he goes, we never figured that out. So I was talking to a doctor friend of mine, her name's Dr. Lori Barr. She's one of the top pediatric radiologists in the country. And I was telling her this story, and she goes, hey, Mark, they discovered like 25 years ago that your skin has light receptors. It has cones and rods almost like your eyes. So I went back to this MIT guy, and he goes, that's a bunch of BS. That isn't true. So I sent him all this research. I go read that, right? And he's like, oh. So even MIT people, right? Keep no bozo, man. Keep an open mind. You don't know it.
Yeah. Wow. So if I run the different modes, say there's a 20 hertz, there's a 30 hertz, a 40 hertz across the different modes. I run that and I'm wearing it on my neck. And am I still going to be entraining my brain to that frequency as well? What if I don't necessarily want to entrain my brain to a gamma or something like that?
Yeah, I don't think it will. Is a general rule. It's again, it's getting a little weird, but if your body doesn't need it, it won't use it. Okay, that's been the general consensus. And like I said, the history of this technology and where it came from the U.S. is sparse because of Carnegie and Rockefeller. Literally, a lady found a machine that had a card that said inflammation 40 hertz, vitality 125 or whatever it was. Well, what the hell does that mean and where did it come from? So nobody knows. So the analogy I use is 8,000 people over 35 years have used these frequencies. And if you picture a bunch of kids in a garage band, right? They're trying to make a song. Hey, add in some cowbells in there and throw in a little bit of horn. Well, that didn't work, so throw that out. That's how they got most of them on there is how they're developed. Not all of them. I'll give you an example when it's not. So, and I've been cautious not to make them up my own because I'm not a doctor, right? But 2 years ago, maybe I had 3 doctors. It was really weird. The same week, and they weren't related. They weren't talking to each other. They said, this is kicking butt for MS. Like, I don't have a protocol for MS. I go, what are you running? Fibromyalgia? And they all said, yep. So it just made a logical bridge of, so I've been doing that. So when in doubt, we already covered this. Run general inflammation because it's the root evil of most everything. If it's toxicity, run the liver protocol. If it's nerve related, run fibromyalgia or neuropathy, right? If it's smells, looks, anything like allergy, run allergy, right? If it makes you, I don't care if it's food allergies or allergy or skin or whatever, just try allergies. Not going to work all the time, but a lot of times it does. So a lot of people doing that, making the bridge themselves, right? Is, hey, this one's close enough. I'm going to try it. If my body doesn't need it, it's not going to use it.
Okay. So you have a lot of different like acute programs where if someone wants to if they have something and they perhaps don't want to take a traditional approach to dealing with that thing, they could try this to see if they get at least some symptomatic relief.
And this is the good news about it. In general, if you use it 3 to 4 times a week for 30 days and it doesn't help you, it's not going to, or you misdiagnose yourself. You run it wrong protocols. And it's not 100%. It's not even close. I mean, PTSD, we have a 98% success rate. In general, don't hold me to it. We have about a 90, I can tell you a return rate's less than 3%. So we have 95, 98% success rate. The lowest one, all you old grumpy men like me, listen, the lowest one is prostate. It's only like 65%. So do not call my phone and just start yelling at me because it didn't work. Is try it. The other 65% does work. Ecstatic that it did. I don't know why. That one's the lower percentage. Maybe it's because prostate's complex or what's causing it. BPH, for example, if large prostate, there's no doctor in the world can tell you why. It just says it comes with old people. So I've never heard anyone explain what actually is causing it. Right? So maybe it's complex. So it's you try it. If it doesn't work for you now, you get in all the statistical stuff like, well, how long do I have to use it? Blah, blah. I was like, the problem is I tell people Probably don't need to use it more than once a day. But when somebody's hurting for 20 years, then it works for them. They do not care about statistical analysis. I have a friend who's an ex-race car driver. He's had 4 concussions. He's been on fire twice. He was taking 8 Ambien a night for 15 years. Now he takes 0. So he has about 25 of these. He looks like a terrorist strapped on him at home. It's like, you don't need to, his name's Mark too. You don't need to run that many. He goes, screw you, Fox. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to do because I feel better. Right. And so you get that from a lot of people where I know you can't overdose because if you could, I'd have a lot of customers in trouble because they use too much.
So, but if I see someone with allergies and they run the allergy program, is it reasonable to expect that they would actually experience like a noticeable shift after that, say, hour-long program? Or would that be like they would need to have it and use it for multiple weeks, at least a couple times per week to see a change?
It all depends on the person and the protocol. You pick one of the ones that is more rapid, allergies. I'll give you a perfect example. A friend of mine calls me up in the airport. Are you kidding me? I have not breathed this well since I was 14 years old. He's in his 50s. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, it wasn't allergies, actually, it was asthma. Excuse me. He ran to asthma, which is going to be a fast one too. He goes, I ran asthma, and he goes, like I just said, I couldn't, never been able to breathe like this, blah, blah, blah. And I go, you idiot. Are you just now using it for the first time? I gave it to you 4 months ago. Yeah. So there's another rule. It will not work if it sits on the shelf. But what with it that's really cool with allergies and asthma is actually horses, right? Horse owners will see it almost immediately. The horse starts licking and they do stuff with their ears. Now, if I was a sinister marketer, I would just make a protocol that makes horses lick because all their owners are confident that that horse is happy when they're licking. It's like, they have a certain kind of lick. Like, okay. But yeah, so some people don't see any response. And here's a caution, is like, with PTSD, the first big study that I did is they did it for 30 days, 3-4 times a week. Then I have people go, I'm not sure if it helped me or not. I could maybe a little bit. And I go, wow. So we're using the Veterans Administration PLC 5. It's 20 questions, 0 to 4. 80 is the highest you can get. 33 and above means you have PTSD. Likely. I have people, I get them on Zoom calls all the time, Nick. I go, so you don't think it worked, huh? And they go, nope. So you went from a self-reported 72 to a 12. And they start crying. So they just sit there and start crying. So I have tons of Zoom calls like that I have a couple dozen on the website. Most of them people don't want that in the public, right? But it's like people forget how bad they felt 30 days ago. So encourage them, get biomarkers, HRV stuff, keep a journal. I had a chiropractor in town that I've known since kindergarten, right? And I told him this story and he's like, and I've talked to a bunch of doctors and psychiatrists. They tell me this, every intervention in the world, same thing, Mark, they forget how they felt. So he videotapes every new patient. He goes, Mark, they come in on a walker. The next time they come in a cane. Next time they come in with a laptop. And they go, well, I could always do it. And he goes, no, you couldn't. You couldn't even walk 60 days ago. I will show you the videos, right? And I don't need to see that. So this is my theory. I'm going to get, if I'm not in trouble already, this is another one of my theories. So I started doing free reports for people when I first started the company because I'm going to get all these returns because people think it didn't help them when it did, right? And so, but we haven't, fortunately. But I think there's still some of that. People go, yeah, I don't know. Well, sometimes people, right? Why'd you return it? I didn't feel different. What were you trying to feel different about? Nothing. I'm in great shape. Well, what were you testing? I don't know. Or we get people's like, I ran for back pain. Why'd you return it? Here's like their number one answer. Why'd you return it? Because I ran for back pain, but pain went away and you have a money back guarantee. I want my money back. Oh, it's sad, dude. That's our number one reason is it worked and I want my money back. Then you got to go, okay.
Interesting. Yeah, that is something else. So if someone runs one of these protocols, I'm sure it differs based on the protocol, but like, for example, the PTSD, it's like, do I have to, say I get to the end of the 30 days, then what happens from there on? Like if I never use it again, would I still have would I maintain my current state, or would it be like a slow decline back to where I was beforehand?
Don't know because we just don't have that statistical data. My guess and anecdotal data is you need some kind of maintenance program, we think, because it's going to be interesting. The people that return it, we have a significant amount of people return it and buy it again. Because they go, well, it was helping me. I didn't realize it was. So can I buy another? One guy, well, his last name is Ed. And I go, Ed, I will sell you another one if you promise never to call my cell phone again. Because you've called me over 50 times to just complain constantly and stuff. And now you're telling me it worked. So, hello, Ed. He knows who he is. But it's like, yeah, so there's all that psychology thing. We don't have any long-term. I mean, we have some people that run it, their migraines went away and they run it twice a week and they don't have migraines anymore, or they're way less severe so they don't scientifically go, hey, if I cut that back to 1 or take it to 4, does it make it better? They just kind of go, hey, I'm happy where I'm at. I'm going to keep doing. Or the more common thing is, oh crap, I don't feel good. Where is that thing? Where did I put it? They set it somewhere. Somebody borrowed it. They put it in a drawer. Now they don't know where it is.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. For a general protocol, would you say for someone who doesn't have anything, as I was mentioning before, if I ran general inflammation once per day and then brain balancing once per day, would that be a good combination, or would that be too much of either of them? How would someone go about using this on a regular basis if they didn't have anything that was standing out as an acute issue?
I just keep telling everyone 3 to 4 times a week for 30 days to start with, because that's kind of what happened in the clinical environment, right? Is that's about how many times you visit the doctor before they go, it's not working. Now from there, I wish I had, you asked some very specific answers. I wish I had them and tons of data to go show all that. I just don't. Is it because we're old? I don't know if I'm a startup company anymore or not. I don't know when got a startup. This is our 3rd year. So I guess, I don't know if I qualify or not, somewhere between that and small business. But yeah, I just don't have tons of that data. It's a weird thing because everyone goes, I want the scientific data proof up. And then when I go get it, nobody cares. They don't care. They just, actually what sells is the video testimony. Now, I actually tell people I don't want any written testimonials because they think I wrote them. But my point to that is the video testimonials, we have a couple hundred of them that we have on the website. Those are all real people, right? And people see that and they go, what the hell? In most cases, it worked for that person. It might not work for me. Give it a try. I really wish it was 100% because I'll tell you this. So I just mentioned all the pajamas girls I have working for me, right? They're literally in a pajama. I tell them, it's going to be the most satisfying job you've ever had, talking with people. But this is not Housewives of Orange County. This is not a fake reality TV show. This is real people that are in severe pain, been tortured, kidnapped in some cases, beaten up by boyfriends, husband, all cotton to PTSD, miscarriages, death in the family, murders. Yes, these are real people you're talking to, especially in the PTSD trauma area, which is our most tested clinically protocol. So it's weird because I have to walk away from emails sometimes crying, going, oh my, what the? Can I talk to you? I'm like, no, I emotionally, I don't want to get on the phone with you. I'm going to have Kelly do it because Mark's not strong enough. Because it's like, oh my, they have that conversation. That is awful what I just read. So, but on the flip side of that, dude, when somebody calls you up and says, hey, I had a gun in my mouth, I was going to kill myself, decided not to. I was going to get divorced. My wife said, let's cancel that because we're getting along a lot better. My kids want to play with me now and hang out. Those kind of stories, you're like, and those are real. They're not fake. That these are real people that's made a big difference in their life. I wish it was on. It hurts me personally when it doesn't help them. I wish I could help these other 35% of these prostate guys, but it didn't work. Sorry. Shoot me. Please don't. Just send it back and give me money back. But it's like frustrating because they get so excited about it and send it to them when it doesn't work. Fortunately, it does for most people.
And I'm imagining too that people are going to get great results with this when they're combining this with other modalities at the same time. It's like, yeah, you can do this and it's pretty much passive. You put it on the program, go about your day. Or you can combine the passive program with something that's a little more active and engaging, or perhaps other passive modalities at the same time. And then you're only going to increase the likelihood, most likely, of positive outcomes, and perhaps reduce some of the, I don't know if there are any risks or aside from the caveats you mentioned earlier, or side effects or anything. So it seems like there's a lot of potential for this to be used in conjunction with other modalities.
It's two things to that. One is meditation for sure. We have tons and tons and tons of feedback of running the brainwave ones with meditation. The flip side of that is, and I won't name the company because I have it set over here, is guided meditations. Mark cannot do. I can't stand this guy's voice. It's annoying as hell. And they only have a few programs that have no voice on them. And you're kind of hostage. The cool part about this device, it's in your pocket. You forget about it. Literally all the time. I go to grab my cell phone and pull it out of my pocket. And it's the vibe. I'm like, that's not even my phone. I forgot I was running this. But yes, you can mix it with the other modalities. When people go, again, I'm going to get in trouble. When you go, hey, can I use this with my amorous crystal, my voodoo doll, my incense, this, and they name 4 other things I don't know what it is, and my 4 medications. I don't know. How would I possibly answer that question? Nobody in the medical world has ever tested a combination of 3 drugs in wrong. And the average American's on 4 medications. Nobody's testing all those crossings. So they get nervous. EMF blockers. Number one thing is they're worried about their amorous crystal, that I'm going to damage it somehow. I go, I don't have any test data to show that, but I don't think it's going to mess up your crystal. But that's all I can say, because I'm all right. I can't go, absolutely not, I won't do that. Like, I might mess up the voodoo doll. I'm not sure. They got getting some voodoo dolls and stuff. The amorous crystals. If I could figure out the algorithm in Facebook of every person that has amorous crystal as a potential customer, I could probably double their revenue, because they're already in that space, right? They're always like, they're not the grumpy guy that's just going to fight. They're not the bozo guy that's going to fight it. And this is a weird thing. You shouldn't say this, but it's true. Women, at least in my experience, way more accepted to try this. Men are just like, yeah, it won't work. Or the women buy it for their husband. Screw that, I'm not going to try that stupid thing. Get this. Why'd you buy this, you crazy lady? Send it back.
Mark, one other question for you before we start to wind this one down and let people know where they can reach you and try your devices. Before we get to that, with certain antioxidants and things people use to help manage inflammation, it can have adverse effects on things like, say, exercise. Like, you can blunt the hormetic effect where you're not getting quite as much return on your time spent exercising. And there's like the potential of like over reduction so that you're not getting the benefits you would of other like lifestyle and nutritional practices. Is there a risk of going too far to the extreme with the general inflammation program on this, or is there like a certain level where your biology will not accept any more magnetic stimulus that will help or that would further put you into unhealthy territory in terms of inflammation?
The honest answer is I don't know. Here's what we think, though, anecdotally, right, is what I said earlier. If it makes you feel tired, cut back. My theory is your body needs time to use the energy. Now, almost every time somebody goes, hey, it's making me tired, is that normal? How many protocols you run in a day? I don't even ask how much a week anymore, because I know it's more than one. They're like, I'm running 9 of them or 10 of them. It's like, okay, just cut back and see if that helps. And in most cases, it has. But yeah, I to get an honest scientific answer to what you answer, I just don't know. We don't have the.
Cool. Yeah. I combine this with red light therapy, and it seems to work nicely. And I do that with meditation as well. And I'm excited to try out more ways of using this. Actually, in my case, less ways of using it, because I already am on like the 9 protocols per day bandwagon. So hopefully I can cut down, and it's nice. It's fun. If people want to give this a shot or check out your work and other products, where do they find you online?
Resona Health. So it's RESONA.health. Resona is short for resonance. So there's no .com in there, just Resona.health. Or anyone to go there, there's a knowledge base they can go search. We used to have a ton of content on the website, but the FDA doesn't want us saying much. So you got to take a bunch of it down. But we're trying to find ways to get that information out, share better. I wrote a book called What on Earth Are We Doing to Our Health, which they can go find that for $1 online. I have a new book coming out, Go Find Joy, which should be out in a week, which is all around anxiety and how these, and the reason I picked anxiety is the number one ailment for all people and pets across the world. By far. So that's the biggest bang for the buck of trying to go after one thing. And so we'll see how that works. We know we got good data with it, but yeah, that's where they go, Resona.health.
And I will put a link to everything we've discussed in the show notes for this episode, as well as some of the deeper dives I've done on different protocols and what the advanced modes can map to in terms of outcomes, because there's a whole secret menu beyond what's available within the Vibe natively.
Thank you so much for having me. Really enjoyed this.
Me too. Until next time, be an outlier.
Thanks for tuning in to High Performance Longevity. If you got value today, the best way to support the show is to leave a review or share it with someone who's ready to upgrade their health span. You can find all the episodes, show notes, and resources mentioned at outlier.com. Until next time, stay energized, stay bioharmonized, and be an outlier.